Hello and welcome to the title testimony about Apologia. How did Apologia Science come on the Oikos path? I'm going to tell you. Again, it's another true story. This story came later on in the timeline of Oikos because we had Konos, we had Latin, learning language arts through literature, we had Maths UC for our maths, starting with Mastery Maths. If you want to know about those two title testimony stories, we've done clips on those for language and for maths. We've done the Konos one, the Picture Smart Bible one. And now I'm sharing with you about Apologia. Now you will notice it's further on down the line of our title testimonies. And there's a reason for that. It's because Apologia came on the Oikos path later than all the rest of them. So how did it come on our path? This is how. I was in the States at a convention. And I was invited out to dinner with the people that were organizing, or the speakers, or whatever. There was that group of people. And I had been invited out to join them for dinner that evening. And across the table from me at the dinner was a lady by the name of Marilyn Durnell and a man by the name of Dr. J. Wile. And they were asking me questions about what I was doing in America, and I was telling them about Oikos and South Africa and so on. And they asked me if I had the science curriculum to supply the home educators in South Africa. And I said, no, I haven't. But we do have Konos. And Konos has a lot of natural science activities in it. But we don't have a specific science curriculum. And so, of course, Dr. J. Wile had been very enthusiastic about science, being a scientist himself. And he had written the junior high and senior high Apologia Science curriculum, being general science, physical science, chemistry, biology, and so on. In fact, Marilyn Durnell, who was also at the dinner table, as I mentioned, also co-authored the biology one, Apologia book, with Dr. J. Wile. So they told me all about this science, and I said to them, well, we don't really need science because it's not vital. You know, we've got Konos, and our whole philosophy is actually about training character and raising children for kingdom purpose and so on. But of course, them being scientists, they didn't agree with that. And rightly so, because there is a lot of importance on science that we can't just brush it aside. And God knew this, and so this is why I'm now placed at a table with some scientists and them telling me about their science. When, of course, they start talking about God as the creator and the importance of science and why it would be a wonderful resource to be able to offer the home educators in South Africa, that we could actually have a science curriculum that we could share with them. And it was about God the creator. Well, now this got my interest. I was really interested in that fact because I think up until that point, if any science came across our way, we discounted it because it had all kinds of content, which I'm not going to go into, but the content did not match the Oikos philosophy and vision, and the material that we were supplying was Christian-based, word-based, and so we didn't want to use or offer a curriculum that was not that. However, having met Marilyn and Jay and listening to them over dinner that evening, I was very definitely interested in what they had to say and what they had to offer. And so I'm sure you know what the end of this is by now already, but I came home from America with some Apologia Science books tucked under my arm, or more correctly in my suitcase. Came home, started using them with our own children, and it did not take long for us to be absorbed and delighted. That is what Apologia Science books were doing for us, because first of all, I was not intimidated because the actual curriculum was written in such a way that it was talking to me, the parent, for me then to talk to the student. Or if the student was just reading it on their own, it was the scientist or the author was talking to the person who was learning. It was more approachable in that way than reading a science curriculum textbook that just basically I couldn't understand what I was even reading because science was not my strong point, as you probably gathered. And so I, normally felt overwhelmed by it. But this Apologia did not do that to me. And I was so grateful to Jay for having authored this curriculum, and very, very specifically grateful that he just kept on pointing everything back to God as the greatest scientist and as our amazing creator. And I realized very soon that these resources were taking us on a journey to learn more about God. So naturally, they fitted with Oikos. It was a beautiful fit, an absolutely perfect fit. Dr. J. Wile had written Apologia Science, exploring creation through science, creation and our creator. So that was just fantastic. Starting with general science, going through to physics and chemistry, advanced physics, advanced chemistry. So it was very exciting. We knew this was a good fit after we'd been using it for a while, quite a long while, and we decided let's start importing them. So then I got a hold of Jay, and there began the process of us now importing his science books. At that time, Apologia Company belonged to Jay. He started it, and that's not so anymore, but that was, I'm now telling you the history story of Apologia. And so we started distributing Apologia Sciences here in South Africa. As the years went on, Dr. J. Wile sold the Apologia Company, and other science books started to be added, such as the Young Explorer series, being written by Jeannie Fulbright, also based on creation and God-centered. So they are very lovely books. And now this was for the junior years, intermediate junior years, for introducing sciences to younger children. And then a little after that, they started bringing in workbooks so that a student could have a workbook to work alongside the textbook. So either the parent can be just using the textbook as a read aloud, teaching the child from it, or their children from that particular book, be it land animals, for example, or the student has it for their own study and their own reading material, and then they've got the workbook to work through. So this is our Apologia story, Apologia Sciences. Again, you will notice that we don't have other sciences on the Oikos website. It's always interesting to me that we've got one kind of curriculum for each topic. We've got one maths program. We've got one science program, being the Apologia Science. We only had junior and senior high. Now there's some for the younger children as well. And so it has expanded in that way, and things do keep growing and expanding and being offered in different forms and expanding within the program, such as the workbooks being added to the Young Explorer series. And we expect things to continue to grow and expand. That's what it's all about, development and growth. All the time keeping the focus on what is important, and that is if this book and if these books, resources, the Apologia specifically that I'm talking about today, are going to be pointing your children back to God and learning more about God and developing their relationship with God, well, then that is a good thing. And that's why we keep coming back to that. And that is the philosophy of Oikos, is to make sure that it is God-centered and that our focus remains on that, preparing and equipping our children to follow after Him. And what our experience of Apologia has been, all the years that we have used it, is we have watched and seen our children come to know God more. So we can share the Word with them, we can give them instruction from the Word, but when they have a curriculum of their own in the higher levels of the senior sciences of Apologia, and they themselves were on their own discovering of God and understanding, opening more and more to them regarding God, their Creator. That's what has been exciting about this Apologia journey for us. Of course, what's also been wonderful is continuing in relationship with Dr. J, and he, you may or may not know, has written more books now for the junior levels, the intermediate side of things, whereby it is more a parent manual rather than being individual topic related books. It's broader strokes, whereas he's taken science through history, science through the ages, as it were, and he starts with the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the very first line of Science in the Beginning, that's what it's called, starts with read from Genesis to your children. So he's written that series as well now, which is called Science Through the Beginning is the first one, and you'll see those on the website. Again, we talk about those. In fact, Jay himself talks about those specific books that he has written, those science books that he has written, which, as I say, are more directed to the parent having the book and instructing and teaching and training their children from the little and middle and older. When I say older, I mean up to junior high level. So let me not digress too much, because that's now more about the actual books. You can go watch the product clip on that Jay tells you about those books. But for now, I wanted just to share with you why we have Apologia, why we don't have any other science curriculum, where it came from, how it came, which I've now shared, And so I'm excited to continue to let you know about developments, because I'm sure there will be. As you've heard, we started with just a book that we brought home from America that Jay said to us, go try it, see how it works for your family, and now we share it with you. And then things have been added and added to that along the way. So we look forward to sharing again in the next decade or before, and let you know how the story continued to unfold. But there was the history, and there is how Apologia Science came to be here at Oikos. We hope you are being blessed by it. We hope you've already discovered Apologia. If not, we hope that you will be discovering it, and that you will get as much from it as what we have. Huge amount of reward and value from it. So thank you again for watching this titled testimony, and I could share with you the story, the true story of how Apologia came to be here at Oikos. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.